Federal government introduces national agri-business policy, transforms country's food system and fosters favorable investments in agriculture. Information Minister Mohammed Idris reaffirms federal government's holistic approach to addressing dynamics of insecurity, guarantees safety of lives and property. And National Hajj Commission of Nigeria's advanced team arrives Saudi Arabia, kicks off 2025 Hajj operations. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. We'll begin at the Vatican, where the cardinal electors have begun the process of choosing the new Catholic pontiff in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City following the death of Pope Francis last month. The Sistine Chapel is under lock and key for the voting process. Ekene Ndluwe reports that even phone signals around the chapel have been blocked.
Elector cardinals have taken the oath of secrecy prior to the official start of the papal conclave. The cardinals lined up to take an oath to ensure the secrecy of the conclave to elect the next leader of the Catholic Church. Each cardinal placed their hand on the book of the Gospels to take the oath.
Sic me Deus adjuvet et haec sancta Dei Evangelia.
The oath promises to keep the secrecy of anything that relates to the election of the new pope. Voting will take place in the Sistine Chapel, with ballots continuing in succession until any candidate secures 2/3 of the available votes. If no clear choice has emerged after 3 days, balloting is suspended for 24 hours to allow cardinal electors time to reflect. Since 1831, no conclave has lasted more than 4 days. In Abuja, Ekene Ndluwe, NTA News.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has officially launched its 2025 Hajj operations as its advanced team is already in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to establish crucial groundwork. This is as airlift of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia is scheduled to begin May 9th. Dr. Alabi reports that the Commission is in its final phase of preparations.
The arrival of the advanced team signifies a key milestone in the 2025 Hajj operations and marks the official commencement of Nigeria's participation in this year's Holy Pilgrimage, a major global religious gathering. The team, comprising essential operational staff and senior members of the National Medical Team, left Abuja on Monday following a brief ceremony at the Hajj House. Their responsibility on arrival is the groundwork for the entire Hajj operation, including accommodation, setting up airport reception protocols, and coordinating with Saudi Hajj authorities. While emphasizing the sacred nature of the task, NACON chairman Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman charged the team to approach their assignment with a strong sense of duty and commitment.
You must be dedicated, you must be patient to take your duties and discharge it without any fear or favor.
NACON, through its Assistant Director Information and Publication, Fatima Sanda Uzara, revealed that 43,000 pilgrims paid for the pilgrimage from the 75 slots given to the states. This is 9,000 short from the 52,000 the Commission had earlier said it paid for their slot. Meanwhile, the Commission has secured clinics in Mecca and Medina with enough bed spaces, distributed yellow cards to states, paid for adequate feeding of pilgrims, and advised against enrolling pregnant women. The inaugural flight is slated for Owerri and has been scheduled for May 9th to Saudi Arabia en route Medina, and the airlift distribution involves flying as Maxair and Umza Airlines. In 2024, a total of 65,000 Nigerians participated in the Hajj rituals, recording 13 deaths during the pilgrimage. Airlift of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia is expected to be completed May 24 and return starts 13th of June to end 2nd of July 2025. From the Hajj House in Abuja, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
Away from religious matters, the federal government has commenced the implementation phase of its economic and financial inclusion strategy aimed at improving access to economic opportunities for Nigerians. To this end, government has established an interagency task force to address challenges delaying President Tinubu's approved conditional cash transfers to 15 million vulnerable households. At the inaugural meeting of the Technical Committee of the Presidential Committee on Economic and Financial Inclusion, Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Hadejia, explained that the meeting brought together high-level stakeholders from government agencies, financial institutions and the academia to align on the President's vision and execution roadmap.
Inclusion goes beyond having a bank account. You know, it really speaks to providing quality financial services, access to credit, and the visibility that a digital platform will give. You know what these people are doing from the cash transfer perspective. Yes, even having an account and giving people unconditional cash grants over 2 years might do something for their livelihood. But I don't think that's the answer.
There are challenges around NIN number, for those people who are affected, So there were a lot of deliberations were done. So at the end of the day, a committee, interagency committee, was set up in order to ensure that we unlock those challenges and ensure immediate disbursement of those conditional cash transfer funds to the vulnerable and poor Nigerians.
It is important to be able to lift Nigerians out of poverty. And one of the beauties of the NIN is that it bridges that financial divide, and it ensures that once any citizen has their NIN, they're able to have easy access to government services.
We need to deliver key implementable and visible results for the lower end of the market. So the financial inclusion and in addition the economic inclusion is very important to achieving the mandate.
Economic and financial inclusion is every Nigerian's problem. How do we bring the collective wisdom in the House to ensure that we get to the last mile? And then how do we ensure that through the Secretariat and the committee that we're looking at problems, but not just looking at them for the sake of talking, but setting ourselves targets and milestones to ensure that we're actually making progress and reporting that progress back.
State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrilla reports that the meeting also endorsed steps to work with state governments in localizing the Data to Financial Services Survey, a biennial study conducted by the Enhancing of Financial Innovation and Access in Nigeria. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris, at the 7th edition of the ongoing ministerial press briefings, reaffirmed that the federal government has developed a holistic approach to dealing with the dynamics of insecurity and guarantees the safety of lives and property in Nigeria. To fast-track the needed results and sustain successes, he advocated synergy between the civil population and relevant security agencies.
Strengthening national security for peace and prosperity, which is the second priority area of President Bola Tinubu, is the gospel brought by the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, as government's investment in modern equipment, intelligence gathering, and interagency collaboration has begun to yield tangible results.
Our troops have neutralized 13,543 terrorists and criminals, arrested 17,469, and rescued 9,821 hostages, while 124,408 Boko Haram/ISWAP terrorist combatant fighters and their families surrendered.
He also stressed the importance of sustained efforts, assuring Nigerians that the Ministry of Defense, in synergy with other security agencies, remains committed to a relentless onslaught against all forms of insecurity.
At this juncture, let me cast our mind to the fact that tragedy unfolding across Benue, Plateau, Kwara, and other states. Hence, we have initiated several non-kinetic mechanisms to ensure that various parties embrace peace and shun violence as means of settling scores.
The minister reaffirmed the administration's zero tolerance for terrorism, assuring that no safe haven will be allowed for criminals within the country. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
In other news, to further strengthen peace and security framework in the country, the Office of the National Security Advisor has inaugurated a national centre for the control of small arms and light weapons, North Central region in Minna, the Niger state capital. Husseina Musa has an update.
The North Central zone of the country consists of about 114 local government areas, with some bordering other countries, leading to its fair share of banditry activities and illicit arms trafficking. Activities of the gun runners and notorious blacksmiths have further worsened the proliferation of illicit firearms within the zone and increased the incidence of insecurity.
Commission this mutual phase.
This inauguration, therefore, is to further enhance the mandate of the National Center for Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons through intelligence gathering to evaluate the illicit firearms supply chain, routes, destinations, stockpile, traffickers, and local manufacturing syndicates with a view to mopping up and preventing the illegal trade.
The establishment of this zonal office underscores the unwavering commitment of the federal government to ensure peace, security, and sustainable development across all regions of our great nation.
North Central Zone is worst hit by the activities of the proliferation of ammunition. As such, we work with the NSA and the ONSA to establish the North Central Security Committee, where issues that are peculiar to North Central can be seen, discussed, and dealt with.
We are going to collaborate with the center to have a DEX office to enhance the efforts that we are doing to restore peace in the North Central region.
With emphasis now placed on sensitization and advocacy, the North Central Zone office located in Minna is expected to serve as a platform for enhanced interagency collaboration and a base for community engagement and awareness programs. In Minna, Husseina Musa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has lauded the federal government's strategic support to the Nigerian Air Force, highlighting its tangible impact on the country's ongoing counterinsurgency and national security operations. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, indicates that this was while delivering a lecture on military strategic leadership in air operations to participants of Course 11 2025 at the Air Force War College, Makurdi. The recent delivery of 9 brand new aircraft, according to Air Marshal Abubakar, has added critical capabilities to the Nigerian Air Force fleet, enabling more precise and sustained operations across various theatres. The Nigerian Air Force in the last 1 year flew over 4,500 hours across 2,304 sorties, executing nearly 2,000 counterinsurgency missions, over 2,600 anti-banditry sorties, 366 sorties targeting crude oil theft and illegal refining. Air Marshal Abubakar emphasized that the targeted investments by the administration of President Bola Tinubu has significantly bolstered the operational capabilities of the Nigerian Air Force. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, one person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, one person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary health care center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Welcome back. The Senate has passed 2 tax reform bills which seek to modernize and make more efficient the tax system in Nigeria. The 2 bills passed are the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, which repeals the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, which seeks to harmonize tax collection. 2 bills which the Senate has scheduled for consideration and passage on Thursday, 8th of May, are the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill and the Nigeria Tax Bill. The 4 tax reform bills were transmitted to the National Assembly in October 2024. The 4 bills have already been passed by the House of Representatives. And the House of Representatives has passed a resolution urging the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to make cancer screening free in the country to facilitate early detection and treatment. Adopting a motion by Representative Aderemi Oseni, the House expressed concern that the cost of cancer treatment is becoming unaffordable, especially for low-income families who have patients battling the scourge. The House therefore mandated its Committee on Health Care Services to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to improve access to cancer care and reduce the financial burden on patients.
The rising burden of cancer is causing a shortage of funding for cancer control, with public financing being considered the most appropriate, sustainable and equitable solution to fund that aspect of healthcare to ameliorate the suffering of patients with cancer.
Mandate the Committee on Health Care Services, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and other relevant agencies, to establish a mechanism for the federal government to provide subsidies for cancer treatments, related drugs, and screening.
Talking about treatment here, I want to add the prayer that federal government should make screening free because of this early detection we are talking about. This will enable people to always go for a screening exercise.
If anybody gets to the centers that are available, you find out that Nigerians are on a very long queue, very, very long queue. Sometimes treatment that should have been taken in 3 weeks, you could have it in 9 months, 6 months. And as we speak, the radiation therapy machines are not even available. You have just one at the National Hospital. The next place you can be referred to is Lagos or Calabar.
Let's head to the courts now, where the prosecution counsel Adegboyega Awomolu SAN leading his second witness in evidence in chief at the continuation of alleged terrorism acts against the leader of the proscribed IPOB, tendered documents and audio-visual materials before the Federal High Court, Abuja, which were admitted in evidence. Judiciary correspondent Austin Nayebe reports that some of the audio-visual materials were played in court.
Being led in evidence, the prosecution witness identified a certified true copy of the letter written by the then Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to the Department of State Service, directing it to investigate the defendant. The letter was tendered and admitted as an exhibit. The witness read the content of the letter from the Attorney General of the Federation, where he listed several alleged acts of terrorism against Nigeria. These acts include arson, kidnapping, killing of security personnel, and an attack on public infrastructure, among others. The letter alleged the leader of the proscribed IPOB of using the unlicensed Radio Biafra to instigate members of the public against the security personnel using unprintable names to describe Nigeria. The second prosecution witness, by name BBB, said it was the content of the letter that prompted the investigation. He told the court that upon his arrest, personnel of the DSS interacted with him for about an hour, asked him to write a statement which he declined, saying he had told them all they needed to hear. A statement found was thereafter given to him, carrying his details, which he signed. The statement was admitted in evidence and read to the hearing of everyone by the witness. The prosecution counsel proceeded to tender a flash drive containing audiovisual broadcast by the defendant. The drive was admitted in evidence, even though its admissibility was objected to by the defense counsel Emeka Eteyaba, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The prosecution counsel applied for the audiovisual flash drive containing the broadcast to be played, which was granted. In the broadcast, the defendant was seen giving a charge to members of the Eastern Security Network, urging them to protect and defend the lands of the Biafra against people who have been killing them. He decried the alleged killing of Biafra since the Civil War and vowed not to allow that again. In another broadcast streamed live, he was heard charging protesters to go after security personnel and attack public infrastructure. He instructed his followers to go after some prominent Nigerians in the corridor of power, with him placing ransom on one of them. The broadcast, where he ordered lockdown and closure of banks, churches and schools in the East, was also played in court. The federal government gazette proscribing IPOB was equally tendered and admitted in evidence. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Austin Nayebe, NT News.
In the meantime, 4 out of 9 suspects have been arraigned at the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt for allegedly tampering with petroleum pipelines and dealing in petroleum products without license. Ijoma Ugweke reports that the case also involves various federal government agencies.
The case is a follow-up on the ongoing nationwide prosecution of suspects over tampering with petroleum pipelines and dealing in petroleum products without license. The 4 suspects were arraigned at the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt. Out of the 9 arrested for the crime, 3 cases fees for arraignment were adjourned for tomorrow, among other cases. The defendants pleaded not guilty and the case was adjourned to 6th of October for hearing.
For the case of arraignment, the defendants were arraigned. The charge was read to the defendant. The defendant pleaded not guilty, and the case was fixed for hearing on the 30th day of September 2025. For the case for hearing, it came up. The counsel for the defense came to court and informed the court that they were not ready, that the principal counsel pleaded with the court that they needed another date for hearing, though the case is fixed for today and tomorrow. But unfortunately, tomorrow's date has to be vacated. The court gave us 20th and 21st of May. The defense said the case is not the dates are not convenient to them. The court had to adjourn it to the 6th of October.
Lead prosecuting counsel from Office of the National Security Advisor, Abdurrashid Ishaku Sidi, said there is evidence against the suspects and the penalty for tampering with pipeline is 21 years. He advised people to desist from tampering with national assets as it hinders development. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, expressed his sadness over the demise of Charity Wesley Mustafa, the younger sister of the former SGF boss Mustafa. In his condolence message, Akume said the death of Charity Wesley Mustafa came as a rude shock. He stated that death is no respecter of persons, while praying for the repose of her soul, as well as God's comfort to his family and the people of Adamawa State. That concludes the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Thank you for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.